Hello and welcome to episode 25 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough here. Cycle 48, day 10. 17 days left in the current drought cycle. So let's go ahead and get this on triple speed. Get through the rest of the night here and talk a little bit about what I would like to accomplish in today's episode. Yes, those of you who commented that I accidentally blew up part of a support column, yes, it will be fixed. I just have to come down here and put in some stuff around so we don't have any further issues. But it shouldn't be too hard. Just have to get these two things built here. So let's, well, okay, they're already working on those. I don't need to prioritize it. But now, if I come in through here and I demolish this, the only thing we're going to see go away is 5 planks and these 2 pieces of dirt. However, these can easily be replaced. That's the only thing that's going to go away. Not that big of a deal. Just maybe a little bit annoying. But all we have to do is come in here and pop that there. And that will eventually take care of itself. Let's just make this a quick thing right here. And then we also need to do something about this right here. We got some stuff to talk about. But I want to make sure that this is handled first. So we also have a whole lot of planks sitting on the ground here that we honestly don't really need to worry about. But they will get picked up in due time. Got some of this stuff that needs to be blown up. Nice and easy. We'll continue working on this as time permits. But now we can take this out, and then we come up the correct amount of levels, and suddenly these pieces are all ready to go just like they were supposed to be. So, coming back down to here, you see these 2 pieces gone. Unfortunately, the only way to really solve this is to have a fully supported dirt piece probably right around here. But the problem with doing that is that it's going to transfer all of this bad water contamination. So I kind of wanted to avoid messing with this too much because it tends to just be a never-ending goose chase of nonsense if you try to solve a problem the way it's not supposed to be solved. The correct way to do this probably was not to use this layout of support columns in this part of the map, but that ship sailed a very, very long time ago, and we're not going to be messing with that. So, instead, what we find ourselves having to do is, in today's episode, joining all of these levels across the middle here, and beginning the process of actually putting the quote-unquote final reservoir up on top of all of the terrain. But because of the way we have this set up with all these tubeways, we're going to need to build it one level at a time. I would love to just build the very top one and then go down from there, but that's going to require we build a whole bunch of scaffolding and also would completely defeat the purpose of having all these tubeways. So that is going to be one of those things that just has to be time-lapsed. But before we start, we need to lay out all of our columns here. I did say I was going to get rid of the river eventually, and I think today is the day that that finally happens. So let's just take a look at how these are laid out. We do have our 7 gaps here, just like they do on this side. And what we're going to need to do is verify that the actual layers that are supposed to be here are left here. And this eventually needs to be opened up to what is below. The only thing that is going to come across is this level here, this level number 4. So that is going to be what we have to line up. And this right in the middle here is just about perfect. So getting that put in there once that is placed properly is going to be what we need to do. We also need to unplant all of these kohlrabis here, cassavas, whatever these things are called. And this, like all of these triple dynamites here, needs to be detonated down to the very bottom of the map. But before we do that, we need to close these sluice gates. We're going to end up replacing this entire reservoir wall, but for right now it just has to stay the way that it is, so we can do something about it. Just have to let it be what it's going to be. So, just to confirm, this is at 20,34, and this is at 20,34. It is the correct way to find ourselves in here. So let's give these guys something else to do here. Take this all the way up to the maximum build height. That will solve that problem. And then we also come in right here, same exact spot, all the way up. Remember, they can come in from the two ways and take care of all of this at once. And that is looking pretty good. And then we get to the middle of the map. We've talked, I'm not going to say at length, but we have talked several times about what we're doing in here. I still haven't fully decided, but putting these two columns in and then getting everything connected is going to be the best way for us to move into the next phase of what we are doing here. And I don't want to go into time-lapse quite yet because there is still some other stuff I'd like to do. But just so we're all on the same page, I am trying, operative term being trying, to get this set up correctly so we don't have any terrible, horrible tragedies in the process of doing this. So I'm just going to have this marked for demolition. I'm not going to wait for these to grow. We don't really have that kind of time. Well, I mean, we do. Technically, I could just edit it out, but I would like very much not to have to do that. So, you know, here in our ingredients column, we've actually got a pretty good amount of the things that we are primarily relying on for sustenance, with the exception of the eggplant ration processing. So, part of this is trying not to outpace what we can do over here, while at the same time making it possible for us to actually get stuff accomplished without waiting forever and a day to get it done. So, appreciate your patience bearing with me on that. Just one of those things that takes time, folks. Got to be able to get it done. So, seeing how this is going to pretty soon be something we need to get rid of, I'm going to let them keep pumping this so that all of this water does eventually go away. I could lower these floodgates and just let it go to waste, but wait a minute, this is already basically full anyway. Okay, I'm actually just I'm just wasting time doing it this way. All right, floodgates open, pump's gone. Don't need it. We can move on with our lives. We have 17 vacancies, 17 incapacitated beavers, but this is in the way, so it does need to go. Bye bye. See you never. Put in. Oh, actually, we got platforms here. I forgot just how much nonsense I'd been doing with this because it's been so long since we've actually sat down and corrected things. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, you might think it's smarter for us to go ahead and just build across before we put all of the dynamite in and blast everything out. I'm going to have to disagree, kind of. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in double dynamite down here on this level. Obviously, this is going to cause some trees to be unwatered. I'm really not that worried about it because when we have the thing done on top, it's really not going to matter. But I'm going to put in, just so we can actually have something accomplished in here, I'm going to put in all of these as double dynamites. We have 1,100 of it. Might as well. And then I'm going to blast all of this all the way down. And then we'll just build in from the side. It's really not going to be that big of a deal. We just have to, you know, do things in the correct order and get it taken care of so we don't need to worry about it. We have 4,900 right here. We have a reservoir that is reasonably full. If I can actually get it to show you. There you go. But we don't have a lot of capacity in terms of tanks, and that needs to be fixed. So that's going to be something that will need to be worked on as we continue expanding upwards. Plenty of stuff to get done. I can't do it all at once, but we can discuss what we're doing. And I think you guys want to see some of these things expanded so we keep making more and more power. But we are going to have to kind of redo all this. Remember what I said before about getting all of the terrain put in place as best as we can, then removing this, then building this back, and then on top of this area, because we have the efficient mine, because we have the bad water and everything, turning this into the new industrial area, because that's going to get built first, and then this can get built up. You know, it's just everything takes time. Or I could be like a whole lot of other people and just, you know, do a jump cut after 50 hours of gameplay, but that's not how I built. I hesitate to use the terminology "built my brand" because that sounds like a really pompous thing to say, but that's what we do here, and I would like to stay true to that if at all possible. So, very, 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 very long story short. Going to be a whole lot of stuff that has to just get done the way that it's going to get done. I know that is like the least quote-unquote compelling way to do this in terms of making perhaps super interesting, easily digestible content. But I did promise I was going to be honest about stuff, and that is the honest truth about this. So buckle up, kiddos. I say to my audience of mostly men between the ages of 25 and 44. Let's go ahead and just let these guys get in here, build what they can build, and move on from there. So, I'm not building any columns in the middle just yet. I'm going to have all of this get as close as it can, because remember, I do want to have this be our utility chase we've discussed many episodes ago. So this is the part where the time-lapse begins, folks. I'm going to let them put all this dynamite in place. We're going to blow some of it up. We're going to put some terrain in. The camera's going to move around, so on and so forth. So I am going to put a timestamp. You've already seen it at this point. Of when this does end. It's probably not going to be a super short time-lapse, just because there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that has to happen. But I want to make sure that we get enough done in one time-lapse so we don't have to sit here for the entire episode and get all of that stuff taken care of. Because there is plenty of stuff I'd like to do, but we do have to wait. So to that end, I will be making sure that I get as much done possible while addressing a couple of other things you guys left comments about. We already talked about putting in the dirt pillar. We already did that in that one spot that was identified, so I do always appreciate you guys looking out for that. I mentioned a couple of episodes ago in the comments about the ladders through impermeable floors thing. A couple of people have asked about that, and I just realized when I was reading the comments prior to this episode recording starting that I never actually addressed it. So I'm going to try to remember to do something about that today. I guess we will see. I'm not sure if that's something that still exists. I know at one point it did work, but I would like to take a look at that, make sure that that is something that if we want to use it, we will. Somebody also left a comment asking for me to remove mouth noises from the recording, and I'm going to be real. I'm not going to sit here and listen to like an hour and a half of stuff to take out like tiny little noises, but I am going to try to adjust my microphone settings so it picks up less of that. Again, can't promise whatever. And I know that's a very annoying thing for some people to have to hear all the time. The mouth noises, I forget what the term is for that, but I have a very sensitive microphone on a very high amount of gain, very close to my mouth. It's going to pick that stuff up. That's just how the technology works. And without having thousands and thousands of dollars of pro-grade audio filtering equipment and compression and whatever, that's just something that's going to happen. But I can try to take steps to mitigate it. I just unfortunately have a very moist mouth that does that. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. But I do appreciate you bringing it to my attention, and we're going to try to do something about it. But that being said, that's enough yapping. We're going to hopefully have all of this terrain put in place, or at least enough to do something else with it, and move on from there. Okay, so we've built just about everything we can build without building additional stuff over here. So I know there's a couple bits that weren't quite filled out, but that should take care of most of that. This is, for better or for worse, about half of the levels on this half of the map minus what is in the reservoir, and the reservoir right now, of course, is just below the amount of water that these guys can pump. That will not be a permanent thing. We will be, again, completely removing all of this at some point in the future and taking care of all of that stuff. But here's where we stand now. Like I said, technically half the map with the obstacles currently in place, at least, half the map leveled halfway. If that gives you any idea just how much terraforming is happening here. But there's a couple of reasons I wanted to stop at this point and shift gears real quick. And that is, we are running out of dirt rapidly. We're not generating a ton of power because we don't have water flow. And in addition to that, we're not going to have a lot of water flow because I removed the river. So we're going to need to make a couple of additional modifications. This might seem like blasphemy to some of you. However, we're going to have to start dumping this water off the side of the map in terms of excess. So I think, I'm not really sure. I was pretty sure there was a way for me to just, you know, have this automatically ejected, but I really don't want to mess with the sluices on the diversion. So I think the best way for us to be able to accomplish this is going to be to just pop in 3 regular dam pieces over here, then take these out and replace them with regular levees. Should not be a tall task at all for our beavers because they have access from above. So I wanted to make sure that got taken care of before it became an issue. We do still have at least a day or so before this will fill up. and that should make things a little bit easier. But I also wanted to take a minute and talk about this thing right here, because currently, as it stands, we would have to have a pillar of dirt here, which for obvious reasons we cannot do, because this is, in fact, going to be contaminated if it were actual dirt. So if we want stuff to line up nicely here, I didn't bother connecting this. We're going to have another pillar somewhere right to the side of this. Just move it over probably 1 block would make the most sense. This area here where we have the large row houses right now is also going to need to be a pillar. So, you know, there's reasons why I don't do everything all at once. It does end up being a little bit annoying sometimes, but, you know, there is a method to the madness. And I also just now realized I did not take these bridges out and fill in the land here. That is something that absolutely should have been done, and now that's put in place for them to take care of. But additional problems have been identified, and that is canola oil is our choke point. We have so much canola, it's not even funny. But we can't make any, you know, eggplants or anything else that uses further canola oil if we do not have enough, which you take a look here. This, I believe, is being run off of a single thing, this oil press. So, first of all, we can prioritize that by haulers. That should help. But the real fix is going to have to be to just build additional buildings of this. And the way this is currently set up, which we have already established is quite poor, is not going to be compatible with that. So, we are going to need to find somewhere to put one of these guys. And again, I'm really not sure how I'm going to accomplish that, and I do not want to rip all of this out at this exact moment in time. So I think look, this is going to be really stupid, and I just need you guys to bear with me on this. Like, I know, but it's more important that we get the terraforming figured out before we do anything else. I just need you to trust me with that, okay? Just do me that kindness. Can we agree to that? Okay. But yeah, just getting this built, even if it's just one more, it will help considerably. We're not in danger of running out of food. The beavers are not going to starve. They're not going to die of thirst or whatever. But it is one of those things we're just going to kind of have to do it the stupid, slow, hard way. That's life. You know, you can't always pick what happens to you, but you can pick what you do in response. So, since we're already here, let's just do a little bit more terraforming just to, you know, start this process off. Like, I know I still have to do another couple of levels of this, but if I sat here and I did this entire thing just all in a row, you guys don't want to see that. So if we break it up into little digestible chunks, that is actually very cursed wording of that. I'm apologizing now immediately. But you get the idea. This stuff just takes time, folks. So I will do what I can when I can to alleviate the suffering that is watching a billion time lapses over and over and over again for something that, quite frankly, a lot of people probably don't care to see, but is still very, 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 very important to what we are attempting to accomplish. So as long as we can, you know, come to that understanding that this is a very necessary thing and that it's just going to be like this, then I think we're going to be okay. So with that understanding now behind us, I'm just going to continue putting a little bit in. Again, I'm not going to sit here and do all of it, but if we can at least get a tiny bit of this taken care of before it becomes a huge issue, then I think that's going to be very, very beneficial. Remember what I said about not having enough dirt? We can't just go gung-ho, you know, 24/7 with this. We're going to have to break it up into little, again, chunks, for lack of a better, less cursed word. But at least getting a little bit in place, especially, you know, the areas around this thing, which, again, this is also going away. But we're going to have to be careful about how this area gets put in. I'm probably, honestly, just going to put in regular platforms because I know it's not possible to reach most of this from above. So we'll just connect that appropriately to, actually that was on the wrong side. Let's do this correctly. I do have the ability sometimes to use my brain. So get that connected there. Again, that being right there because they can't build down through dirt. So this area does have to be taken care of in that way. But just a little bit more of this, and then we will go back and do yet more necessary things, just like we'd already always planned. So, oh, this thing autosave got me again. Where does that leave us with the other stuff we talked about in today's episode? So I'm just going to leave this as it is now. Let them take care of that, and we'll continue working on other stuff. We already talked about this. This is functioning. It is not quite making enough power, which I think at this point it's probably going to be necessary to just get whatever temporary power boosting we can get done, and not worry about, you know, making the perfect in-game power solution here, because that's honestly something that's worthy of almost its own dedicated episode. But what we can do is we have space back here. If we decide that we want to actually have this be a serviceable thing, all we have to do is have some sort of a platform available to get back behind this stuff, which for what we're doing here would mean going in like that. And then we can come in here with some dynamite. We have all this space back behind here. I just have to have this blasted out. This would be a ladder here, and then I can replace all of this with an engine. We have plenty of, forgot what this is called, logs. Very good. Plenty of logs to run more engines, and we're kind of balanced, but I know we're going to have to keep, you know, growing demand, and it does kind of go back and forth, so just one of those things that would make sense. We also honestly should start getting into some flywheels, but these are pretty expensive. And the whole science thing, remember when I said, oh, we're not going to need to have science? I kind of forgot that this mod actually works in Update 7 now, and we're going to need to make some more science. So at some point I will have to put in a number cruncher again. I know I can hear the cheering from here all the way across the world and in the future. That's just how powerful the number cruncher cult is. But we will get to there at some point, and now I see that this is... Okay, well that's fine, because that's going to have to get blown up anyway. It's a good thing last episode that we put these things in here. And I know we maybe could have done it in a slightly better location, like, for example, way back here in the back corner of the map, because we weren't growing anything here anyway, but this is where they are for now. They're probably not going to stay here. That's fine. I have heard the cries of the coffee weary, and I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be a better place to put more of the berries in this corner of the map. So we're going to have these guys get rid of this, and then I will just allow the berries to grow naturally, which will require us to, quote-unquote, plant these coffee bushes so they cannot spread. They'll get to this in due time. I'm not going to police it. I don't really have that kind of time or energy right now. Just want to make sure we can actually get some of this stuff taken care of. But of course, they're putting in all of these dirt blocks as they are supposed to. So let's give them a little bit of an incentive, that is the correct article to put there. Good job. To get this taken care of so we can have everything else ready, to go. So this is actually superfluous. We don't need that there, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then we just have to wait for them to take care of this. So, again, going back to other stuff that we need to be working on, just peel this back. Like I said, we do have another at least 2 levels to put on here. Well, okay, maximum of another 2 levels from what we've already started placing here. 3 overall to get this taken care of. Once the top level is in place, as a reminder, that top level, the bottom of the top level, is going to be the bottom of our reservoir currently with what I had in mind. And that is where, at least for a little bit, I would like to plant some of those mangroves and put other stuff in. But we are going to need to kind of theory craft another one of those design iterations of the whole pumping structure. Because remember, when we have 1,000 beavers, we're not going to be able to store or pump enough water just on principle of having 100 beavers for back-to-back, at the very least, 30-day droughts. Just not going to work. But if we can build enough pumps to where we never have to worry about water overflowing off the side of the map because it's all getting sucked up, that's going to be our best bet, which is going to require a lot of pumps, which we've kind of talked about already. But I do still want to have plenty of space to do water recreation like our swimming pools, and then showers. Well, showers aren't really recreation. I guess that depends on who you ask, because I know there's definitely some of you who have interesting hobbies. But go ahead and blow this up. Let's get our engine in place here, which should just go very nicely right in that spot. And let's go ahead and get that set up there. That will get this connected. That'll get that connected. That should be fine. And especially because we have a drought coming in. Not that we actually have any additional power generation being done right now anyway. That should be fine. And since we have nothing going through here, this is actually an opportunity to put something else in this slot. I will leave this right now alone because these are conducting power. But in the future, before we completely rebuild everything everywhere all at once, then we can, put something else here. So we have 138 beavers. We have expanded production of canola oil. The eggplant rations are slowly trickling in. We do have these prioritized by haulers, as well as the oil presses. I love the squelching sound. Thank you. That is looking fine. These guys somehow are saying they don't have any power. That's probably because this is not prioritized. So I'm glad that got caught. And now that that's taken care of, we have this going here. Not connected to a district center, but because this one was not finished. I knew I had that actually set up correctly. They just haven't built it. So that's going to get built. Once that is done, then yes, friends, it will be time for more terraforming. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and start that right now. So, you know the drill. It just is what it is. They build what they get told to build, and if I tell them to build stuff in the wrong order, it's not going to happen correctly. So instead of doing it while trying to talk and go back and forth, I'm just going to fill in our little zigzags here to crosses, and then fill in the space in between the crosses with all the other terrain, and then do it again, and then do it again, which will get us all the way up to the very, very, very top. And then, and only then, we will be able to get rid of our large reservoir on the side of the map, which will happen at some point during a drought after we've probably after we've pumped videos on the mind, pumped all of our water out that we can possibly get, which will of course be a fun thing that I will probably have to do outside the time lapse. But I'm going to build the terrain I can build, and I will catch you guys on the other side of this one. Again, stuff just has to get rotated. That's the way. Isn't there a meme about like some alligator getting rotated? I don't know. I spend too much time on the internet. I need to probably go touch grass, but I digress. We'll see you on the other side of the time lapse here, and we'll let all that water out of the dam. So in case you missed it, I don't know if this has happened yet in the time lapse or not, but Timberborn crashed. It told me that it had had enough, and I said, no, you haven't. Get back on the horse. So I've had to reload the save. Lost a little bit of progress in the time lapse, but they are continuing to construct. I did also think of a couple other things to talk about, which will probably help this time lapse be not quite so breakneck fast. But we don't have a ton of dirt. I know we did end up fixing the hauler prioritization issue of the other two newer dirt excavators. So I'm hopeful that will make this go a little bit faster, but there's still a good chance I can't actually get all of this stuff built in a reasonable amount of time just because of waiting for the dirt. And if that happens, I'm going to have to make a call at that point in time to just go ahead and cut it off and let the dirt excavators excavate more dirt so we can build the rest at a later point in time. But I did make the goal with myself that I wanted to have the original reservoir gone, or at the very least outmoded to be removed later by the end of this episode. So it is what it is. There's that drought starting sound. However that lines up, I have absolutely no idea. But here we are, 27 days, and excuse me, I think we're going to have a good enough time getting the rest of this taken care of. So appreciate your patience. I appreciate your dedication to the format that we have decided we were going to do these videos in. And I will see you on the other side of this one. Hopefully, with a whole lot of dirt in place. Alright, so cycle 50 begins. They have not finished all of the terraforming, but we didn't run out of dirt. It turns out they're just really, really slow at building. But we've got this level taken care of, we got this level taken care of, and this level is almost done. I did end up having to put in another two-way station, and we're going to need one up here eventually as well. So why don't we just go ahead and pop that guy right in there just so we're ready. But after that, we just have this final level up here, which will, of course, take time to get done. But let's go ahead and talk about what we're doing with the reservoir, because I wanted to have this done by the end of the drought cycle, so this would be a little bit easier. But basically, what I'm going to end up doing is, since I can't relocate all of the water pumping, I did math with the help of a calculator. I know I'm not that smart. And a full storage of water at about 45, 46 is what we could normally get to without it just all disappearing. It would only last about 12 or 13 days, which that's not going to fly, and that's not enough for us to be able to just completely remove this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to wall off this. I guess I have to peel this back again. I'm going to wall off past this bit, so right here, all the way through. I'm not going to do dirt because dirt is very slow. We also need it for other stuff, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this completely separated all the way up there so that we can actually take this part of the reservoir out. I think we're probably going to be able to leave most of this in place for the time being, but I really want to get, at the very least, these middle pieces here, the double wide, all the way to the edge of the map, because that's going to be really important for supporting everything we've got going on. Now, I know it's cycle one, day one of the cycle, so let's go ahead and prioritize this levee, which, yes, is going to mean we do have to have overflow built in on this side, but I think we're going to be okay. We just have to let these guys do what they're going to do and put all this stuff in, which is going to be a very long process, but fortunately we do have access right here to a well, I thought I would have a decent quantity of logs, but it appears we've oh, they're buried in the corner. They're fine. That's fine. But they can just go up here and then go down through most of this. I don't think it's going to take that long of a time. But I had a thought during our time lapse that maybe because this is on the exact same level, we might have some bad tide considerations to keep in mind here. And we haven't gotten one yet since we put all this dirt in, so I'm not sure. I think because these are separated by a levee, it shouldn't contaminate anything once this has bad water in it. But I guess we're going to see. There's been so much terraforming happening, folks. It has been a tremendous quantity, and of course we do have plenty left to go. But I can't have like an hour straight of time lapse with absolutely nothing else happening. So there is some other stuff we do want to do. You know what I didn't do? That's actually kind of irritating. I forgot to unplant these, so they couldn't spread. That is, well, tragic isn't really the right word. It's just annoying, but you know what I'm getting at. So we've managed to get the vacancies down to a pretty manageable number. I had worried for a little bit that we would have problems with the builder sites not being fully staffed, but I don't think that is the case. We have been pretty reliably, having about 19 injured beavers, which more than I would care to have. And I think a lot of that is probably due to how many are working in the mine, even if nothing's actually being pulled out. We're not using a tremendous quantity of metal, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to a single beaver, just so we have somebody in there as we do end up using small quantities of metal. But that hopefully is going to lower our injuries just a touch. We can take care of most of the rest of this. The amount of water that is flowing in here is not very significant. And I know it's going to take a little bit of time to get these pumps. Actually, they just kicked back on. But we didn't run out of water. That's what matters. That was going to be a terrible problem. But as soon as this is built up high enough to where I can actually flush this out reliably, I think that's going to be the smart thing to do. Let's go ahead and also, keep this the way it's supposed to be done. Take these three out and replace them. That's the wrong button. Good job. I always do this. I have like 1,500 hours in this game. I still managed to make that work. But this is going to be replacing all of this. We'll, of course, get this knocked down when the time comes. But for now, we're doing okay. Obviously, this is not the permanent solution. It's just the solution we have right now that is going to be the easiest to adapt to whatever else we're doing. And there's more, you know, dirt I would like to put in. It just, there's so much that has to get done. You have to just take it one step at a time. Best as you can whenever you have the opportunity. So that's the reason why we are doing this. I really hope they get this finished soon enough so we can, you know, knock the rest of this out. But let's take a look while we're waiting and see what we can actually get rid of. Remember, we have this, basically this entire level here bored out as much as we can. And all of this is hinging on, we have on this layer overhangs right here. So everything up to right here, like this whole thing here all the way down to here, can go away and be replaced with the actual correct terrain structure underneath. We just have to be sure that all of this water is not going to flood places we don't want it to flood. So that means this side has to go out first. But I don't want to do that until this wall is complete, because then it's going to cause issues if we don't wait. But it seems like it's already flowing over the edge here, so I guess that's fine. Don't really need to be worried about it that much, but just, again, leaving that there. I guess I could go ahead and cue this in as well. Underneath all of this, we do have to have some way of the beavers getting up underneath the shadow of this mess, because you can't build through terrain. So that's just one of those things. Way she goes, etc. That should take care of that once they actually get into that business. But yeah, I think taking this out and still keeping this in for the time being is going to be just fine. Again, there's a lot of moving parts that have to be taken care of. That's just the way this kind of style of playthrough goes. But look at all this we've already accomplished today. Lots and lots and lots of layers. We obviously need to be, you know, growing more crops if we're going to have all these guys actually, you know, increasing the population. But for right now, I think everything is fine. Keep in mind, all of this is going to be, you know, tiered land, dirt, whatever, too. We just have to figure out what we want to plant. We probably don't need all this. And if that turns out to be the case, then in the middle, I might actually take the level out entirely and put in a second, what do you call it? Like reservoir thing down here. We have to be able to get things into pump. We have to be able to get things into grow. That's my thought process behind dealing with that. But I think for right now, seeing how this is already taken care of, we can go ahead and just do a big to-do about getting rid of all of this stuff. So if I take this one column out, it should drain just about everything else really, really fast. But yeah, look at all that. Look at all that water just going off the edge of the map, and it doesn't bother me at all. What a beautiful sight. Oh, I'm going to get the evil villain laugh accusations again, but I digress. All of this, every last scrap, can just disappear, along with all of my cares. Just get this mess out of here. Get it out of here. All the way fully out. I'm going to leave this just because it has ladders on it, but look at all of this space we have gained here. We've got a tremendous quantity of stuff now available. By stuff, I mean space. Look at this. Look, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it wonderful? To see all of these things that you previously had standing in your way just completely removed. And, of course, you know, this is no longer irrigated because the reservoir has been absolutely just... Oh, hey, something needs to get exploded. Cool. Problem solved. I'm pretty sure people have been begging me to take care of that forever. But now we don't have to worry about any of this, and that can go away, and that can go away, and that can go away. And this ladder actually is kind of useful. I'm going to leave it for right now, but it is also eventually going to have to go away. And I think, yeah, every last bit of building on this level, we actually don't... Ah! I forgot there was additional water at this lower point. Well, It's fine. It'll go away. Just get all of those pieces now. The metal is from the sluice gates, so I don't have to worry about that. We just got to let all of these pieces go. Don't need to worry. Don't need to worry. It just is going to pop that up, and it's going to make me freak out every single time. But nature is healing, or so the meme says. I think this all can go away as well. And then that is... Oh, this doesn't need to be here. Cool, 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 cool. This, of course, is structural to... Wait, hold on. This isn't structural to anything. Nothing's being supported here. I can finally get rid of this. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Look at all of this extra space we have gained. I love to see it. Absolutely fantastic. Now it's time to get look at all this water down here. Now it's time to get all of this mess all the way up. We already know this level is fine here. It's going to be such a mess. It is going to be an absolute just titanic quantity of pain and suffering to take care of all of this. Except I keep managing to mess this up somehow. No, 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 no. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Click and drag is not my friend. I just have to get this as high as it can possibly go. And then that makes that much easier. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, now where's the next one? Right here. We got 25 and 24, 43. Very, very easy problem for us to solve. Just bring this up and continue, so on and so forth, etc. And that's as high as that goes. That was my main goal behind doing all of this, was to get these two big columns in place. Everything else, aside from that, is looking really good. We just have to have, obviously, the correct things taken care of here. And I think that is going to be possible very easily. Just one piece at a time, doing what we can. Alright, and then this piece right here in the corner does need to be replaced with terrain. That's why I removed that. And then you know the deal here. Just all the way up. All the way up. That is the wrong spot. Do not build that. Thank you. I saw that progress bar. That's gone. And now we have this piece right here. I believe is the correct spot for it. Yep, it sure is. So away we go. See, we're filling in so many holes today. It's beautiful. That is the correct spot here as well. And away we go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Now I think I should have another piece right here. Let's just triple check. Bad tide started. Let's see if this is going to cause any problems. I don't think it will. Now we have 24 days to think about it. So, this is where I admit I messed up. Let's hit pause because a terrible tragedy has befallen us here. We only have 2,000 water. Remember when I did my math announcement earlier? That the 4,500 water was only good for 12 days. Well, we have to last twice that long, and we have less than half that water stored. So that's a big problem. That is a tremendous problem. And to top all of it off, something... What's the Fast and the Furious meme? Hector went into something... Spoon engines. I don't know. It's been forever since I've seen that movie. But yeah. These 8 pumps and all of this little tiny bit of water are really, really not going to cut the mustard, folks. But that sounds like a problem for next episode me to deal with. So we're going to continue. We're going to continue moving right along. I just really wanted this to get taken care of. I really wanted that to get done. So, you know, call me narrow-minded. Call me, well, I don't know. Never actually been diagnosed, so I shouldn't claim anything. But yeah, that's the way that goes. So where do we go from here? I do not think, at this point, it is possible for me to get the actual replacement reservoir in place in the remaining time for this episode. But what we can do... Oh, look how quickly this is going away. Okay, what we can do is we can go into crisis mode, and we can pause all of our breeding pods. No, pause all of the breeding pods so that we, don't bring any more beavers in. We can slowly reduce the population by old age beavers dying instead of dying of thirst. So, I need to make sure I don't have any surprises here. That's also the wrong tab. Yeah, I only have 9 and they're all paused. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a population dip, but fear not, because these are in stasis. We can just unpause them later, and we'll get all those beavers popped out lickety-split. But it's definitely going to be rough for a little bit. Definitely going to be rough for a little bit. I timed this extremely poorly. That's the way it goes. That's showbiz, etc., so on and so forth. Now that this is no longer having to support the entirety of human civilization, I think we can safely get rid of all of this stuff. So these will go away. This is just going to be blasted. This no longer has any relevance whatsoever, so this can be removed. If I can actually get the correct thing attached. There we go. It just is what it is. And we don't need to spend any more time worrying about it. The worrying can happen next episode when this actually, hits the fan. But getting all these pieces removed finally is going to allow us to have the entire thing connected correctly on this level. Just go ahead and get this unplanted. Not like it really matters because it's already dead. But just look at this, folks. We're finally achieving our dreams of the stuff we should have done probably 20 episodes ago. And actually getting things accomplished the right way by first doing them the wrong way. Yeah, there's a lot of underneath to take care of that I kind of don't want to get into at this exact point in time. But we can still do what we can here. Just get the rest of this popped in. Deal with all that other nonsense later. Just get this right like so. I think that should be fine. That will connect all of that. And then, again, we just have to have all of these extraneous pieces removed by way of explosives, which is the fun preferred way, in my opinion at least. And let's see. What can happen if I remove these? Nothing? Good. That's exactly as it should be. These things here, what gets removed? Nothing. Exactly as it should be. Just let this be what it's going to be and move up to the next level, which is going to allow us to get this connected here. Again, not a perfect solution, but it is the solution that we find ourselves able to use. And that is totally, totally fine. I don't think this is going to be that big of a problem, but in case it is, then, well, we'll just we'll deal with it when the time comes. I think that should be fine. So that will take care of the vast majority of that level. Keep in mind that we're not removing this mess, so anything up to about here is probably about as good as we're going to get. This has to go here, this has to go here. That takes care of all of that mess, and then these, of course, are structural, so I'm not going to be messing with that. But tremendously good stuff. Tremendously good stuff happening today. Just have to take care of what we have to take care of when we have to take care of it as the beavers allow. So, where does that leave us? 21 days remaining in the bad tide. Well, we've lost 6 beavers to old age. Our amount of water has stayed exactly the same, and the amount that the pumps are able to still pump has decreased tremendously. We are going to have to put in pumps down here in the bottom, and we're going to have to really, really, really hope a whole lot of beavers get old and die really, really quick. There's not really any other way around this. The 2,000 beavers, wow, 2,000 water, oh, the number's going up, is, keep in mind, 2.6, oh, it's 2.121 water per day. I had those backwards. I did my math based on 2.6. Okay, so it's maybe not quite as dire, but it's definitely still dire. 2,000 water, just simplify divided by 2, that is 1,000 beaver days worth of water. And we have 124 beavers right now, so that's like, what, 8 days? As the number goes down, the number of beavers go down, that number goes up, and I know there's still more we can pump, but I still think we're going to have a something to the maybe a rough equivalent of an extinction level event with the beavers. I guess we'll find out next time, but just so I'm not a complete, liar, promise, a denier, whatever, based on my own stupidity, I guess what we can do, since these columns are in place here, we can put in the terrain between the big ones and then start the process of the very top connecting and putting a thing there. It's just, I kind of caught myself with my own pants down here, to borrow a term from, I don't even know where that came from, but this is definitely not something I wanted to do. It's just something that happened. Let's get that put in there. They have to be able to access all of this, and they can't go from underneath because of how high it is. We do have to wait for them to take care of that. But once they have this bit in, it's still on triple speed. I guess I forgot that. Once they have that bit in, we can do the next bit, then we can do the next bit, and we can do the next bit, and I'm going to end up time-lapsing this just shortly so we can have that taken care of. Then we'll come up to the very top, get that connected, and to some degree, whatever degree we're actually able to do, at least get the footings for the new reservoir in place and talk about how we're going to get the water over there, should the beavers actually survive. So I'll see you on the other side of this one, and we'll get right to it. Okay, so that's taken care of, and now the middle, I guess we can call this the spine for half of the map, is fully complete, even if the rest of it's not connected yet. That's another thing that's going to take a lot of time, and I don't want to subject you guys to that today after all this nonsense. But this is going to be the beginning of our reservoir, our mangrove tree growing stuff, so on and so forth. So, again, the plan is for the internal volume to be 48 long by 24 wide. 24 wide from here is going to include another 11 from this tile to the left. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 right here. So this is going to be where the internal volume stops, and this will be the wall right here. So what we can do is build terrain up to the point where it's going to be able to be connected here, and as it just so happens, this is one of the support columns. So that's going to work out really nicely. It's just that in this exact place, the support column is hidden underneath all of our water diversion, or it should be. This is empty. That's probably not smart. But the support column for this is supposed to be right here. It cannot currently be accessed because it is behind, underneath, so on and so forth, sluice gates. But there is technically a way to get up here to actually build this. So what I'm going to do is pop in a ladder right there that'll let them get up in here, and then this will just go right there as soon as I verify, because I do not trust myself. There we go. That'll get taken care of at the very least, and then when this gets redone, we'll just replace stuff accordingly. But this is... No, not that one. Go away. This is going to be what we end up working with as we move forward. And I guess I have to leave that blank. Yeah, that's not going to connect. So that's what we can plan for. But the rest of this, we know we can line up here, and then the same thing on the other side, because this is a symmetrical four-way construction for all of our supports. So this is the second in on the one that's inside, which means this is going to be the boundary on this way over here. So while we have not yet taken care of anything connecting here, we do know that this here, for the sake of what we are attempting to do, is going to be the limit, the bounds, so on and so forth, of what we have going on, which also applies to over here. And they can build from above for all of this now, because this is the same height as what we have going on here, and this is going to go away. So that is not going to be an issue basically ever again. We just have to have all these pieces in, and so on and so forth. So this is what we're working with. If this ends up not being what we want to do, then of course we'll rip it out and do it again. But this is going to be a lot of water volume, maybe too much, but keep in mind we have the ability to section this off. If we don't want to have the entire thing filled with water, we can still use it for other stuff. And the floor is only going to be, or only the floor rather, get your words in the correct order, is going to be terrain blocks. So if it turns out, hey, we really don't want or need one that big, then all we have to do, put a wall down the middle, and suddenly it gets cut in half, or in thirds, or in quarters, or whatever have you. But that's what we're working with here. And because this is still close enough to our source blocks, all we're going to need to do is build this up to the max level and have it fill in from the top and then go down. That is going to be a project for one of the extended droughts. But seeing how this has already gone, we have 16 days in the bad tide left. We're down to 1,300 water. We're only down to 115 beavers. Something's got to be done. Now, I know I said we're going to do this next episode, but let's just take a real quick look. We have sucked all the water up that we are going to be able to suck. And what we're going to need to do is build another level all the way down here that is going to be able to reach the bottom of the reservoir. And the maximum height of our pumps is 6, or the depth rather, which would put the entrance to the pumps on the same level as this triple platform if we were to go all the way down. Right now we have another 2 blocks on top of that, and there's no mechanism by which we can get any more water out, nor should we really want to get any more water out. So what I'm going to do, even though it's not going to go all the way down, I'm going to take this mess here and we're going to get it to this height because that's what's currently available. That's just what we have available to us. This is already okay. I can just have this single thing blasted out. I think they can still place this. They should be able to. By walking on stuff, that should be alright. But this bit here is going to have to be what we are working with. Actually, I lied. Well, I didn't lie, I just didn't know. I wasn't thinking. Always be thinking. That is generally good life advice. This is where we earn our keep here. We have to have all of the platforms in place. This only has to be... oh, this actually isn't going to work. These are going to overhang in a way that is unsatisfactory. Oh well, life goes on. Oh, I'm trying so hard, folks. I'm trying my best. Just bear with me here. This is going to have to go here. This is emergency stuff I had not anticipated actually needing to do. As long as they can actually get to this, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we have to have pumps put in here, and I know it's not going to be enough, quote unquote, but it's going to be better than nothing, and if we don't do it, then really, really bad things are going to happen to our beavers. Like, you know, not having any water, which I personally don't care to have happen to them. So while we wait, might as well go ahead and do our end of episode stuff. I am going to just very briefly cut in and take care of this so we can actually get something else going here. But I really do appreciate you guys watching these videos. I know especially when stuff gets to be a little bit, shall we say, sketchy. For the most part, you guys still, you know, offer supportive comments and helpful solutions instead of just saying, okay, well, I can't believe how stupid you are, you do whatever. I appreciate it. I also encourage you to be honest. So sometimes, you know, it is necessary to just call out like blatant stupidity, but it really is not possible without the continued support of you guys watching, and especially the beard boosters who subsidize all this, because, you know, YouTube is a fickle beast when it comes to promoting videos, and ad revenue goes up and down the whole year. And I really don't want to turn this into like a business type discussion, because at the end of the day, I'm having fun playing with beavers on the internet, and somehow this pays my bills. I just still can't quite believe it. But it is very important because of that now that I do have to kind of, you know, think about that. I don't want to let it drive the bus, so to speak. But those folks who do contribute make it possible to kind of worry about that a little bit less, and make sure that we can still have a good time doing whatever we want to do and not just chasing the algorithm by putting up, say, apocalypse mode 40 days in a row, which, hey, that probably would do crazy numbers, but that would actually put me in the ground. I could not do that. So, you know, just offsetting some of that is a huge help, and I really do appreciate it. But all that being said, we are now able to put the rest of this in and hopefully, you know, give our beavers a little bit of a lifeline here. do some good old-fashioned crisis management after the fact instead of planning properly, I suppose. But this right here is going to be our beaver's ticket to, you know, not all dying, maybe some of them, but down to 1,000 water with 14.3 days left and 113 beavers, and rapidly falling. Let's just say this is not the outcome that all of us wanted. So I'm going to right now, before we say goodbye, just pause all these pumps because, well, they are kind of useless. And then these 4 right here, well, it's not going to be nearly enough. It's what we can get to right now. And yeah, it's going to be something, folks. It's going to be something. So we'll have to see what happens in the next episode, which, again, in this series currently will be on Saturday. I've got some time to think of solutions and maybe figure something else out. But I really appreciate you. Like I said, it's not possible without your support. You matter, and I'm glad you're here. And I hope we'll have a better episode on Saturday without some bad stuff happening. But, you know, that's the way it goes. We'll see you tomorrow for, hopefully, if I have the time, another colony review. Maybe going to try to do another one of those on Thursday as well. And then, of course, you know how this goes. Water Beavers Friday, etc. Well, that's all the time I got for this one. Have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.